I am an expert. I've had two eyes for over almost 65 years now. No, let's look at this. Okay, so when we're looking at, we're going to look at what nearsighted, normal, perfect is. We're going to look at the muscles around it. Lazy eye, what that's from. Dry eyes, we're going to solve it all. So when you look at the eye, let's look at vision first. The eye shape is hugely important. Now, the light comes into the lens, and this lens focuses the light on the back of the eye called the retina. Now, the shape of the eye is huge because if that eye is misshapen and the light focuses behind the retina, this means that you could see stuff far away, but you can't see stuff close, and that's called farsighted. If the eyeball is misshapen where the lens focuses it before the retina, that means you can see stuff up close, but you can't see stuff far. So here, you need glasses to read. Here, you need glasses to drive. So wait a second. It's all in the shape of the eye. Now, let's look at the eye structure itself. You've got a big area here that's filled with vitreous humor. In front of the lens, right in front of this, is a muscle that constricts and dilates. That's the pupil. Now, there's aqueous humor up here. Now, that fluid is always flowing in and always flowing out. Now, if that fluid flowing in, and this is superfiltrated blood, if the blood isn't healthy, then pressure can build up in here. That pressure on the lens can actually, and that's called glaucoma, it's pressure on the eye. So if we can change the pressure of the eye, we can correct glaucoma. If we can change the shape of the eye, we can correct vision. But what are we doing? Look, what's the eye made for? It's made for moving. It's made for looking around. We've got a body that's over 50,000 years old. Okay, it hasn't changed genetically. A big mobile neck on top of a big old huge head, but our eyes are supposed to move. We're not designed to stare at a computer, not vasodilating or constricting, not moving the eye, and so the eye is going to atrophy. And we have muscles all around the eye. So let's look at one other problem. Have you ever seen, and it's called lazy eye, where one eye is looking one way, one eye is looking the other way? That actually, there's cranial nerves and stuff involved in that. What cranial nerves is, you've got the brain up here. The brain doesn't stop at the skull. There's an oblong section that extends the top portion of the neck. And that's called a brain stem. Well, off of this brain stem are 12 cranial nerves. The sixth cranial nerve is for what's called the lateral rectus that moves the eye to the side. So now you've got these brilliant surgeons that can go in there and shorten this muscle so it moves the eye over, but they're not looking at the actual problem. It's literally pressure on the brainstem. There's something altering one of those cranial nerves. So they may be fixing the eye kind of. The eye still isn't going to track the same. So if you do have lateral rectus, and it's called abducens, that's a cranial nerve, if you have this, let's look at dumb procedures. Some doctors will give a prism lens that forces the eye off to the side so it's angling it. So you're still not correcting the pressure on the brainstem. And these poor little kids got to wear these funky glasses that's always making it. Then they take the glasses off and then they got to go balance again because this is changing their perception. So when you look at this, it's not just that light is coming into the eye. The brain has to interpret it. So again, we're looking at vision has information coming into the brain. Now, they did a study, and the coolest study ever was when they had astronauts that were going to be in space, and nobody knew what a human being was going to do disoriented. Because when you're out of the presence of gravity, your balance is going to be off, vision may be off, and you don't want to have guys sitting in this spacecraft that have vision or balance problems. So they thought, how can we test these people? How can we challenge their brains, okay, to give them a distorted environment? So they built these glasses. Think how clever these guys were. Where you put these glasses on, it turned everything upside down. And so the first few days, they would go to shake your hand. Wait, you're not there. They would grab the glass over here. Okay, they couldn't correlate that information. But as their brain got used to different information coming in, they were not only able to adapt, okay, but they were able to drive a car. They were able to talk to people. They were able to do complex motions. So even though everything was turned upside down, the brain was able to interpret it. Now, when they took the glasses off, it took 21 days for their brain to change. What do we tell everyone? It takes 21 days. That's why we have a sleep exercise that takes 3 weeks. 21 days is the time it takes to change a habit. Those are one of the studies that people come up with, 21 days. So it's not just pulled, I don't know, let's make up something. No, it's how long their brain took to adapt and how to change that adaptation back to normal. So does that mean that even if the eye is diagnosed with nearsighted, farsighted, or normal, that you could change your brain's perception of it and change it? Well, there's certain exercises that we can do to help the health of this eye. There's certain nutrition that we can do to help this eye. There's certain foods and toxic environmental substances that can harm this eye. Does that make sense? So now we've got blood that's a superfiltrate that's filling up this aqueous humor, this area where the lens is. And if the blood isn't healthy, then pressure builds up and then the lens fades. And then you got cataracts, glaucoma, a bunch of stuff. What causes that? Well, medications will toxify the blood. Toxic foods will toxify the blood. Anybody wants a microwave popcorn? No, it's poisonous. Don't even give it to your neighbor, okay? That would be bad karma. Now, so all medications are going to alter it. Compromised nerve supply to the eye will alter the function of it. Then these eyes have moisture. That means you've got a gland up here called a tear duct. And this is the lacrimal gland. So people with chronic red eyes, people with chronic dry eyes that are always using the eye drops, okay? That's actually the lacrimal gland not working correctly. Now, how do glands work? Glands need healthy fats for hormone production. You need healthy fats. So does that mean if somebody's had their gallbladder out, they might have a difficulty in hormone production? Yes or yes? Let's make it really easy. So this gland, when we have people with dry eyes, we'll find out what medications they're taking. Okay, we correct the problem, so we get them off of that. We get them on healthy foods, which is, basic, what's designed for your 50,000-year-old genetic hunter-gatherer system. Organic food, good water. I'm going to teach you movement and good sleep. And astaxanthin is a nice antioxidant that's good. It's not just specific for the eye, but it's very, very good to deal with problems of your toxic environmental exposure. But we'll also tell people to put a warm, wet cloth on the upside of the eye, and that's going to stimulate the lacrimal gland. And so if they do have dry eyes, we don't say, well, squirt some saline solution in there. Let's get some healthy fats. Let's find the problem. Let's get pressure off the brainstem, put a moist heat up here. But this water that's excreted out of the lacrimal gland drains through the nose. And yes, haven't you always wondered why your nose runs when you cry? It's because that's where it drains. It's just, you didn't think you'd learn anything, but you do every day. Okay, so now, aside from the toxic food, toxic medications, pressure on the brainstem, let's exercise this eye. And the exercises are huge. This one, you've got muscles all around the eye, okay? A couple of them are run by the cranial nerves, so you've got to make sure that you've got good nerve supply to it. So you got to have your neck in a curve when you're doing this exercise. But think of this. If you had a clock in front of you and your head is straight, and what we want to do is force your eyes up to 12 o'clock and hold it there for like 1-2 seconds as hard as you can. And what's that doing? That's literally moving the eye, changing the shape of the eye. Now, before you do this exercise, if you're nearsighted or farsighted, pick something on a wall or close that you can't see, nearsighted or farsighted, and after you do this exercise, it's going to be more clear. And that's only true 100% of the time. You can't do this exercise and get the results with glasses, but you can still do the exercise and change the shape. Because remember, ultimately, it's not just the shape of the eye, it's what your brain is perceiving. This is why if you're constantly wearing glasses, your brain is getting a distorted image from that additional lens that's changing it. So the less you use your glasses, the stronger your eyes are going to be. So keep your head straight up to 12 o'clock as hard as you can. 1, 2 seconds. Down to 6 o'clock as hard as you can. 1, 2, 3. Then up to 1 o'clock as hard as you can. Then down to 5 o'clock as hard as you can. Then over to 2 o'clock as hard as you can. Then over to 4 o'clock as hard as you can. Then you get, I forgot, 3 o'clock. Okay, 3 o'clock. I'm just going backwards on the numbers here. Okay, so it's 1, 7, 2, 8, 3, 9. Okay, I'm trying to do it backwards. So yeah. Okay, and then 4, 10, 5, 11, and then 6, and then 12. So by doing that, you're literally changing the shape of the eye. This is not important. It is vital for anyone that's staring at a computer. It's absolute vital for anyone at a desk who's reading a book, who's not moving their eyes or their head throughout the day. This will keep the blood flowing into the eye. This will increase and decrease the pressure of the eye. We even do, like if somebody is diagnosed with glaucoma or things, there's even an eye adjustment that we give in addition to this exercise. So that's one of the most important. The next one we want to work, because so those are the extrinsic, the muscles outside of the eye. Now we've got to work the inside muscles. And so 2 exercises for that. 1, pick a spot far away, okay, in a corner. Then put your finger close to you, right in line with that spot. Now focus on the spot, then focus on your finger. Focus on the spot, then focus on your finger. And you're going to feel your eyes are changing. What's changing in the eyes when it feels that way is literally the pupil is dilating for distance. Your eye is opening up to get more information in. When you're looking at a computer close, it's constricting. So imagine if your muscle is tight all the time. If you're in a constant state of constriction, you're going to have an eye strain headache. So let's dilate it. So let's say you're sitting at a computer, you get that eye strain headache, you just, oh gosh, I want to stop. Well, this is skeletal muscle. If I work this really, really hard, it takes me maybe half an hour to a couple of hours, depending on the work, to rest it up. Smooth muscle, which is in the eye, only takes a couple of minutes to regenerate it. So the exercise is you're going to cover your eyes super, super dark so you can't see anything. And you keep your eyes covered like this. Now open your eyes, but keep it dark. And now try and see the inside of your hand. And you're going to feel your eyes instantly relax. And you maintain this for about 2 minutes. And you're going to feel your eyes completely relax. You got to keep it so dark you can't see. And this will instantly relax the eyes because you're dilating the pupil, relaxing the inside. Now, less use of glasses, because the less you use your glasses, the more your brain is going to identify what's going in. Now, I wear glasses at night when I'm driving, even though light-colored eyes can generally see better at night. Okay, but my eyes have been misshapen from a couple of accidents. My left eye got hit a couple of times, baseballs and things. But that changes a little bit. But when I do this exercise, it changes it back to normal. I just have to do the exercise more. Now, sun gazing. The sunlight is fantastic. This is why areas close to the equator, people that get in the sun, they have certain cancers that they've never even heard of. Okay, but sunlight is fantastically good for the eyes in small doses. If you just stare at the sun, it's not going to be good because that's too much radiation. But a little solar radiation is great. So a couple of things to do, because sunlight is vital. The way the world is the sun goes around. Okay, when it's hitting at an angle in the morning or evening, it goes through a whole bunch of atmosphere, so there's more diffusion. More diffused means that the sun isn't white in color. When the sun's overhead, it's white. When it's on the side, Depending on the particulate matter in the air, it's going to be yellow or orange or red as it gets lower and lower or starts raising up. So in the morning or afternoon, hour where sunrise and an hour after, or sunset an hour before, that's a great time to just stare at the sun. Okay, you start with about 4 or 5 minutes, that's fine. Not an early riser and you happen to miss it. During the day, you can close your eyes, just like if you look at one of those lights up in the ceiling, and you look up at with your eyes closed, you can kind of tell that it's hitting a portion of the retina. Then you move your head all around. So with the eyes closed, the sunlight is hitting all different parts of the retina. Now, the sunlight has a huge amount of energy. If you're getting direct sunlight hitting the back of the retina, this helps your pineal gland. This is also fantastic for meditation. It's fantastic for the third eye. You know that the human being's more energy than matter, although you tell that to a medical doctor. Okay, because we're talking really low level. They're just pharmaceutical trained. You are not the standard medical doctor. Okay, I'm talking the guy that you got pain, instead of adjusting their neck like you would, okay, they give a drug. So it's not a slam on you. It's a slam on the education of the majority. Because the pineal gland can be negatively affected by aluminum, and that's in vaccines and foods, and water. It could be affected by fluoride. If that pineal gland's clear, then you're able to think better. So when your eyes are closed, just moving your head around so you can see that all the way around for, say, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, is one of the things I do on Saturday. Because Monday through Friday, I do not see the sun. I'm in this room. Now, every time on Saturday's my day off, do I want a balcony everywhere I stay? Yeah. And a pool so I can be in the sun. That's like, thank you, God. Okay, and eyes closed when you're sun gazing. You can also keep your eyes open, okay? And I wouldn't do this at noon, but anytime throughout the day, if your eyes are sensitive. So when you're looking at the sun in the morning or evening, you can move your hands up and down like this so you'll get intermittent rays hitting it. But getting light on the retina is fantastic for reversing a lot of different diseases. Too much is bad. This is why you got to wear sunglasses in the snow or in the desert. But you've got to have sunlight in there. And when you think about it, you go from inside to a car that has UV protection on the windshield. You go from that UV protection of the windshield to an office that has UV protection, ultraviolet protection on the screen. And then when you're done with the day, you leave, you have a little bit of sunlight at the end of it, you get no sunlight. Okay, and we are designed, 50,000-year-old evolution is probably a heck of a lot more than that, but people would go crazy if I said we've had the same body for 500,000 years. So just know that it's thousands of generations that our bodies have been outside the majority of the time. Okay, so this is what we're designed for. Organic diet cleans the blood, that allows blood to flow in. Water, movement of the eye and movement of your body, and sleep is when the body regenerates. Okay? Any questions?
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
So when you say sunlight, it makes UV.
Well, no, the sunlight. Okay, so when I say sunlight, do I mean ultraviolet light? Oh my gosh, no. Okay, the sun is such a smorgasbord. I mean, a variety of energies coming in. There's gamma rays, there's alpha rays, there's infrared, there's ultraviolet, there's every spectrum. And there's so much stuff that we haven't discovered yet. Okay, like when I was having one of my x-ray labs put in, and the state inspector was there because we were going to test the radiation going through the wall. And he has this sensor, and nothing's on yet. We're setting it up because we're going to blast x-rays through water, through a metal chair, diffuse the rays to see if it's going to go through the walls to the other units. And the thing's jumping around like crazy. And I said, wait a second, there's nothing on. He says, no, that's gamma rays from the sun. And we were like, the bottom floor, it's just, there's so many different energies. That's why like the Juve light has infrared and ultraviolet. Those are just two spectrums, but they reverse disease. There's so much benefit to the sunlight. It's It's the energy. I mean, when you're eating a plant, you're eating concentrated sunlight. That plant converted that energy into chlorophyll. I mean, and that's antioxidant. That's how we build our body. So yeah, the sun is so much more important than just one ray. If you want to use sunblock, use coconut oil. It's got an SPF of like 3 or 4. You just got to put it on a few times. But anything you put on your skin gets in your bloodstream. Okay? Kapun krap, sawadee krap.